With Star Wars The Last Jedi hitting cinema screens this December, we look back on Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. Hey guys, how are you? Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones was released in 2002, 3 years after The Phantom Menace, and we pretty much knew what we were going to get. Sure, it's better than The Phantom Menace in lots of ways, maybe because our expectations were already so low after what we got with The Phantom Menace. But the main problem with this movie is the love story, and I'll get to that in a little while, but it is an improvement, so that is always a bonus. Okay, so Star Wars Episode 2 is written and directed once again by George Lucas, which after The Phantom Menace probably isn't such a good thing. He did strike gold with A New Hope, or Star Wars as it was originally called, but we'll get to that in a couple of months' time. But here we've got pretty much the same sort of fiasco that we had with The Phantom Menace. The whole thing is pretty much filmed in front of a green screen, or possibly a blue screen, I don't know, but some sort of chroma key is involved. The sets just aren't real, and it's a massive CGI fest, which isn't going to do anyone any favours because it dates the film, as it did with The Phantom Menace, which actually does look worse. This actually does survive a little better. Now don't get me wrong, I do love Star Wars, and I love the Star Wars movies, but having a look at this from a critical aspect, there's just so many things that are wrong with the movie. Once again, the character of Anakin is just completely wrong. I don't know if it's down to casting, if it's down to the way it's written, directed, I don't know. But Hayden Christensen, whilst not as bad as Jake Lloyd was in Phantom Menace, still isn't what we expected from Anakin Skywalker. He's very whiny, he's very moany, and he's always kicking off and complaining like some sort of petulant child. And it just doesn't strike true that someone this whiny would get the former Queen, Senator Amidala, to fall in love with them. In fact, when he looks at her like some sort of psycho. He looks at her like he just wants to and it's so awkward and freaky for the majority of the film. How she could fall for him is just completely insane in my head. And there was one moment in the film where she told him that she was making her feel awkward. Well, that was us for the whole 2 hours. So in terms of the storyline for Attack of the Clones, Padme is now a senator after serving her 2 terms as Queen, and there's a failed assassination attempt on her life. The Jedi are assigned to protect her, and it just so happens to fall to Obi-Wan and Anakin to look after her. Whilst in their care, there's a second attempt on her life, and they could give chase. This leaves way to quite a good chase through the streets, or should I say skyways of Coruscant, with a nice chase in 50s style cars. One of my main problems with this is that the Jedi are portrayed to be some sort of superheroes. Anakin at one point jumps out of a car, free falls for what seems like forever, and then lands on the assassin's car. Obi-Wan quips, "I hate it when he does this." That gives you an idea of the sort of humour that we're getting in this film. But it's quite an exciting chase, if not a little bit long. The assassin again escapes from Anakin and makes her way into a club, which leads to one of the better scenes of the movie, in which Obi-Wan uses a Jedi mind trick to stop someone trying to sell him death sticks. It actually is pretty funny. It's one of the better scenes in the film, and it actually does work. So when they do catch up with the would-be assassin, she's promptly eliminated herself by Jango Fett by firing a little dart from way over there. Obi-Wan takes this dart to a friend of his in some sort of 50s retro diner, which shows George Lucas's reverence for the 50s a la American Graffiti, like the pod race in the last movie. We get the diner scene here. And this leads Obi-Wan to a planet called Kamino, which he can't find any of the records. So he investigates in the Jedi archives, and the planet has been deleted. So basically Yoda tells him to just go and find it. So while Obi-Wan is sent to find the planet Kamino, Anakin is sent back to Naboo with Padme to protect her. Now why on earth would you send this kid, who isn't even a Jedi Master, to protect the Senator? He's being sent to a beautiful, romantic planet, and all he seems to be doing so far in the movie is just stalking Padme. It makes no sense at all. So back on Naboo, Anakin and Padme get closer as you would, go for nice walks, go for candlelight dinners. Padme is wearing a lot less clothes, there's a lot more skin on show here, which, believe me, isn't a bad thing. Natalie Portman is absolutely stunning. But Anakin just drools and drools and drools and whines, and he just looks like he's gonna assault her in some sort of way. So while the love story is forming on Naboo, Obi-Wan finds a planet Kamino and he's expected, and a massive clone army is being produced for the Alliance, which makes no sense because no one's ordered it. It's been requested by somebody called Cypher Diaz, which we don't get explained who he is, and they never really come across that point again in this movie or the next. While on Kamino, Obi-Wan tracks down Jango Fett, who lives on this planet. He's the basis for all the clones. And once again, George Lucas proves how good at casting he is by the kid actor that he puts in the role of Boba Fett. This kid is just as bad at acting as Jake Lloyd was. I mean, he just has no idea at all. So jumping back to Anakin, he's now having nightmares about his mother. And apparently Jedi don't have nightmares. Okay, so aren't nightmares just bad dreams? But Jedi don't have nightmares because they're superhuman. So when Anakin gets to Tatooine, he finds out that his mother has been sold to a moisture farmer by the name of Lars. It transpires his mother's been captured by the Sand People and being held against her will. He then goes to rescue her. And this is a good scene. It builds up a lot of tension, especially when he finds his mother and she's at death's door and she dies in his arms. You can see the rage building, and it's pretty good acting here from Hayden Christensen. He does some good acting here. Anakin goes nuts and slays the whole camp of Sand People, women, children, as well as the men. And this is good. It's just a pity that we don't actually get to see this played out in full. Instead, it's cut short. Now all of this build-up is subsequently undone pretty quickly by Anakin's following monologue about how much he hates Sand People. George. Back on Kamino, Obi-Wan has been taken prisoner by Count Dooku, who subsequently tells him that Darth Sidious is controlling the Senate. And Obi-Wan's like, no, I don't think so. I think we'd know if he was. Now, we haven't really talked about Jar Jar Binks yet, and there's a good reason for that. He's an absolutely terrible character, and we all hate him, but he does play a pivotal role in this film. Even though George Lucas downsized his role, he still plays a big part in this movie, and in the events of subsequent movies as well. In Padme's absence, he's the representative for Naboo on the High Council. So he petitions the High Council to give emergency powers to Senator Palpatine, thus giving him full control of the Senate. Great. Jar Jar is the one that screwed up the entire Republic and the downfall of the Jedi. Padme and Anakin catch up with Obi-Wan, who's being held by Count Dooku, and they subsequently get caught themselves, and they get put out in this big gladiator-style arena for them to be killed by some sort of beast-like alien-type things. And we do get a good little bit of action here, and eventually the Jedi turn up and start kicking some ass, which is about time, because for the whole movie they've literally just sat around like they did in Phantom Menace. They've just sat around and talked and talked and talked some more. But eventually we do get to see them come and kick some ass, lightsabers and all, and it is a pretty good scene. It's a good action scene. So next, Obi-Wan and Anakin confront Count Dooku, which leads to a lightsaber battle, and they're both overcome quite easily. Yoda then turns up in his little stick and proceeds to have the most interesting lightsaber battle in the world. He's jumping around, he's flailing and doing barrel rolls, doing all kinds of acrobatics, which completely contradicts the things he said to Luke in The Empire Strikes Back. I think Lucas forgot that. So Anakin and Padme go back to Naboo, get married, the end credits roll. Attack of the Clones is a very, very strange story in the Star Wars universe. There are some elements which are very good. There are some which should have been better. My main problem with the movie is the romance aspect, the love story, so to speak. At no point in the movie does Padme show any affection or feelings for Anakin, say a kiss early on where she just dismisses. But then at the end of the movie she declares a love for him. There is nothing there to suggest that she's ever in love with Anakin, and his incessant whining would put anybody off. The rest of the movie I don't have too much of an issue with. The acting is better than what we got in The Phantom Menace. In some places it's actually pretty good. The special effects, really, I'm not even going to go there. The CG is just unnecessary in a lot of places and could have been used a lot better with models in conjunction with the CG. And the music by John Williams is absolutely fantastic. So all in all, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones is a very mixed bag. I have mixed feelings about it. I do think it's better than The Phantom Menace, but I certainly don't think it's up to par from what we expect. We wanted to see Anakin get dark, we wanted to see his journey into the character of Darth Vader, and we get some very, very minor sneak peeks at that, but I wanted to go further, and I wanted to see more of that journey. I'm going to give Attack of the Clones 3 out of 5. It's better than Phantom Menace, but it does get a lot better as we move into the series. Thanks very much for watching these reviews, guys. Let me know down below what you thought of Attack of the Clones. Which is your favourite Star Wars movie, and are you looking forward to The Last Jedi this December? Thanks very much for watching. Please give a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next month for Revenge of the Sith. Bye.